Hello, this is Undead Nightmare 24 back with a new video, and tonight I will be reviewing a film I just watched. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. So let's get this started. And the movie I did view was 1996 Bad Moon, and it is a werewolf film. And I was surprised to see a werewolf film filmed in the mid 90s that would live up to some hype, but this one did. I mean, it was a good movie. It stars Michael Pear as Ted, and Janet. It's also Marielle Hemingway has Janet, and Mason Campbell as Brett. And pretty much Ted is the brother, and Janet the sister, and Brett is the son of Janet. And you've also, the son Mason Campbell, who is Brett. He comes out on the Dennis the Menace movies, so it's pretty cool to see him in a film. And this movie pretty much starts off with Ted, who's doing some research in this jungle, and it's with his girlfriend, and they're camping out somewhere, and they're attacked by a werewolf, and the girlfriend pretty much gets annihilated while Ted ends up getting scratched by the werewolf. And that's when it comes back to this wilderness where Janet and her son Brett are living, trying to get away from everything. So she's a single mother that's a lawyer, and Brett has this dog named Thor, which is a very smart dog, and he's my favorite character from the movie. Actually, is Thor the dog. He makes this movie very good, and I was pretty surprised to enjoy this movie. I mean, it has pretty much them living out there, and then Ted the brother ends up camping out there in the woods and calling him. He's in a little trailer, and right away he calls his sister. Well, not right away, but he calls his sister and them to go visit him, and she pretty much starts to suspect something's wrong with her brother Ted. He's acting different. He says his girlfriend left him, and suspicious stories around. And then, as a matter of fact, it ends up coming out that bodies are disappearing in the wilderness where they're at, and suspects are looking for a killer. Pretty much Janet sees on the TV that the cops are searching right by where Ted's trailer was, and all of a sudden he's suspiciously living with them all of a sudden in their backyard in his little trailer, and a lot of weird stuff starts to happen. But to get all into that, this is a very solid film, and it ends up saying that Ted was infected by the werewolf, and he pretty much has to tie himself to a tree at night so he doesn't attack anybody. And the dog Thor's pretty much suspecting, gets the vibe. Dogs can sense things that something's wrong with him. So the dog pretty much harasses him through the whole movie, which he usually goes for a jog at the middle of the night. And that's really to tie himself to a tree so he don't harm anyone. And the plan ends up just failing. He ends up loose on the wild and pretty much killing going on a massacre of people as he turns to a werewolf during nighttime. And it's a solid film. I really enjoyed it. The practical effects were nice, and the transformation from Ted to the werewolf is pretty intense. The werewolf looks awesome. Really approved of that. He looks pretty creepy. And it ends up going with a storytell there while the family's fighting off Ted, who becomes that werewolf that can't control himself, and ends up with a showdown between them, and Thor being the hero of the dog to save the day as he goes through different obstacles to warn the family and also fight off Ted, who he already senses and knows he's a beast, a werewolf at night. But I mean, the werewolf looks really, really nice. He looks really authentic, and the kills are nice in this movie. The story gives you that eerie wilderness feeling where it's set, and it's pretty much a very good werewolf movie. I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, it's 1996 Bad Moon, and I give this a recommendation to watch. So this is Undead Nightmare 24 back with the review. Hope everyone's having a good night. Would appreciate a like and subscribe, comment. Everyone have a good night. Stay safe. Peace out.
A house on the edge of the woods.
Out here is safe and peaceful.
A family alone.
Mom?
Yes, sweetheart?
Can you leave the door open a crack?
A favorite uncle who needed their help.
Things haven't been going so good for me since I got back, sis.
Come stay with us.
But when they invited him in,
Think I better keep my eye on you.
they let in something they could never imagine or ever escape.
What's wrong with you?
Bad Moon. It doesn't have to be Halloween to be